We're back for another episode of Live with Marie and Dan. And we want to thank everyone who watched the first episode. We've had lots and lots of views and comments and crazy commentary. Lots of emails with crazy shit from the internet sent to me for the show. So thank you for that. And keep those coming, by the way, because we got some really good stuff that we'll use in future episodes. But, I had a dream last night about this because I knew we were doing this today. I was in my pajamas.
As usual.
I hadn't brushed my hair.
As usual.
No bra. Everything was moving and flopping, and the kids were here, the dogs were barking, David was trying to film us.
Wait, in real life or in your dream?
In the dream. Oh. Yeah, well, it's pretty much normal, right? Yeah. So yeah, pretty much normal. And it's like funny because when we come to do this, like I have to like make sure my hair is right, and there's a little makeup that's got to go on. And what do you do to get ready to come down here?
Whatever you tell me to do.
Which includes putting on a shirt and brushing your hair, basically, right? Yeah, so I'm coming back as the guy in my next life because this is bullshit. It's not fair. So, this time of year, late September in Rhode Island, it's kind of a little bit depressing. We closed our pool this week. No more pool.com until May. Boat's going away. I'm even kind of sad that my pots on the deck are dying. I mean, I take really good care of those guys for an entire summer, and then they just go and croak on me, and I feel like I'm losing my friends. It's very sad. I hate this time of year. But I also like the fact that our like crazy summer social madness kind of calms down a little bit this time of year because we kind of go nonstop from Memorial Day to Labor Day. It's like a tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah, about that time.
Yeah.
Wait, you said the other day everybody tries to cram
10 months
10
into
weeks into 10 days.
10 months into 10 weeks. Yeah, that's what goes on in New England in the summer because we literally have a very short season where we can do anything outside. And I think we've at some days been to as many as like 3 cookouts in one day. And then we'll try to jam in some boat time. And then we'll like realize that nobody's looked at the pool in a week. And then it's September 30th and here we are. So, I think it's kind of weird though that I'm sad about my deck plants though. Is that weird?
Not for me.
Well, because what do? You just throw them down in the pond and that's the end of it because you have no feelings. So we've talked about that many times before. You're emotionless and I'm emotional.
I'm not emotionless.
You are emotionless. You are. You don't get all sad about plants like I do.
Okay. I am emotionless about plants.
All right, I am also emotional.
Talk to my brother then if you want to get emotional about plants.
Well, yeah, he is a professional horticulturist, and he's not afraid to tell us so. I'm in a deep, dark funk about something else that we need to talk about here, and that is the demise of Fixer Upper. And I'm sort of a little concerned that the fact that I went to Waco somehow caused this, because it's not a coincidence that less than a week after I was at the silos, they decided to end the show. And I'm a little concerned that I might have had something to do with it. Do you think I did?
Yeah.
You do? Really?
It's probably because of my broken mirror.
Yeah, you broke a mirror and all these awful things have happened, and truly awful things. Just things I don't even want to talk about have happened. And now Fixer Upper. Like, how much are we supposed to take here? Maybe I was like one stalker too much. Like, I just took the numbers over the top, and they decided after she came, we gotta wrap this thing up because she's clearly crazy and she's crazy about us, and now she's come to our town.
They probably saw you stalking their house out on the highway too.
Okay, I might have done that, but only because I knew somebody who knew where they lived.
No, yeah, it's not you might have done it. You did it.
I did. I was at their house, but I didn't go in, or I didn't ring the bell or go through the gate or anything.
But you would have. If Tom and Valerie would have let you out of the car.
Don't name names. Don't
Those are not their real names.
That's not their real names.
Sorry, Tom and Valerie.
Shut up. We did hear from other locals, not them, that things have gotten a little crazy for the Gaines family in Waco. Like, they had to take their kids out of public school because people were kind of tracking them. That's kind of creepy, and I feel kind of bad for them about that. But I can't blame them for taking a step back if that's what's really what their life has come to. That they're kind of running from the crowds and whatnot.
If your last name was Gaines, would you name a kid? Would you consider naming a kid
Weight gains? Well, think about what we thought about naming our kids.
Gale
Force, Max Force. And when we were expecting babies, people would say to us, what are you going to name them? And we would say, Gale if it's a girl and Max if it's a boy. And they would just be like, oh, those are nice names. And then there would be like a pause and they'd be like, really? So yeah, no, we didn't name our kids Gail and Max, but we did think about it. But when your last name is a verb, you have to be very careful what names you give your children. You really do. Speaking of autumn, before we move on from Fixer Upper, as you know, and I've said this before, I watch a lot of HGTV, probably too much. And now I've got it in my head that I can do some of the things that I see done on TV, and like, how hard can it be? So, stop it, I can see what you're doing. So I've been thinking about wanting to paint the cabinets in the kitchen. And I also want to do a new backsplash, because, you know, Joanna makes it look so easy, right? So my cousin Ed has a tile saw, you know, and
He
so,
does?
yeah, so we can borrow his tile saw, and my cousin Steve, who's done it before, will come up from DC. He's told us he'll spend a weekend and help us do our tile. But I've been told that I probably shouldn't have anything to do with the tile saw.
You shouldn't.
Julie, who is my assistant, she said this is not good for typing. So she's like, I can't picture you after a tile saw. There'll be bloody stumps. But I'm very determined to try to do this ourselves, because I think, like, okay, so they have those sprayer things, you know, on HGTV. It looks so easy. Like, how hard can it be? So I'm thinking that when we do this, that David ought to probably get a little bit of video of this project from like start to finish, and maybe we'll make it part of our show.
Hopefully
and we can
it'll never come to that.
What, the finish or the start?
The videotaping of taking video of it.
Why?
It'll just never. Hopefully it'll never start. There's nothing wrong with our cabinets.
Well, they need to be painted because they're chipping. We will acknowledge that they're chipping. So that's why they need to be painted. It's not just because I have a wild hair to be HGTV girl. There is actual chipping paint coming off of our cabinets.
2 places.
No, like 10 places I counted. So now I want to paint them, and I've got this big wild hair about getting it done, and he's like obviously not as enthusiastic about this project as I am, and he's going to have to be involved.
Well, okay, it's one of those jobs, you know, that I prefer, if I can do something myself, I prefer to do it myself instead of paying somebody to do it.
Me too.
In this case, I don't think I can do it myself.
I think I can, though. So
No, but you can.
should we make a little wager?
No.
All right. Well, I think David should videotape part of this, because it could document the demise of our marriage too, right? So
In our house.
in our
kitchen.
beautiful kitchen. And how many cabinets are there? Like, there's like 25 cabinets. How hard could it be? So it's actually a pretty big kitchen. So it might be a little harder than I think, but I think once we get a groove, and we do a little bit at a time, and we just knock it out, like, I think we could do it. So my goal in the off season is to spend less time on the computer. And so this is like, I've been trying to come up with, like, I did a lot of gardening this summer. I did a lot of weeding. I did a lot of, yeah, I did. I kept all the weeds out of that garden.
You did weeding.
I did.
Okay.
It counts as gardening.
Okay.
Oh my God, tough crap. So I think if I take on this project and I am serious about it, that we can make it work. But
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, like, I don't want to be involved.
that's not an option. That's not,
Yeah, it is an option.
not an option.
It needs to be done professionally.
It would be professionally by me and you. Yes.
No, by a professional that does those things.
Well, how do we
I'm
become-
not a professional at it. And
Professionals have to start somewhere. Okay. So
you're a
like.
professional book writer.
Okay, so now I want to be a professional cabinet painter. Who says I can't do it? Are you holding me back? Are you denying my dreams? I want that paint sprayer. That's what I want.
Author, gardener, cabinet maker.
Thank you. It's a business card right there. Thank you. All right, and you know, speaking of the demise of our marriage,
I wasn't speaking of it, but
if you don't cooperate with my cabinets, you will be speaking of it. We are down to 25 days until 25 years.
oh yeah,
What do you want me to get you for our anniversary?
a card.
Really? Does that mean that's all I'm getting?
No, I had something in mind.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah, sort of. I just need to go.
You got to pull the trigger. Yeah.
I gotta get to Home Depot to get.
Oh! Is it going to be the paint sprayer?
No.
That's what I want. Okay. That's how you prove your love. Give me a paint sprayer for my anniversary.
Well, actually, that might not be a bad idea, because then you won't use it, and then I'll have another.
So that's like a little like a bait and switch. Is that what you're?
Kill 2 birds with a stone.
Yes, Dan once said that. I like to kill 2 birds with stones. Of course, that becomes what we say in our house now. I kill 2 birds with stone. So as far as cards are concerned, though, what should I expect? Because what I'm used to is like Valentines that are like, I'm not sick of you yet. That's the kind of Valentine that I get from him. And I always say, like, if I got a nice one, I'd wonder, like, who is she? Who's the woman, So am I going to get another I'm not sick of you yet? Do they have those for 25 years married, do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure you can get them on the computer.
Or you can make one, that says happy 25th anniversary, I'm still not sick of you. And, I always keep telling you that you're on the bubble for renewal, and it's not an automatic contract renewal for the next 25 years. And so the other day, we're in his truck, and which is...
You already told this
No,
story.
I didn't, actually. I forgot to tell this story the last time because it happened before our last episode. But his truck has a few, shall we say, issues. Including knobs that don't work the way they're supposed to.
No, they work fine.
No, they really don't. So I was messing with one. Yeah, and that's what happened. Only there was a slapping sound that went with it. And I said to him, that is not how you get your contract renewed, Mr. Force, okay? And I think really, you've got to really bring it for the next 25 days. I really think. Because it could go either way.
Bring what?
Bring your A game.
Oh.
See, he doesn't even know what he needs to bring. You see what I'm up against? Somebody asked me yesterday about my son, if he has a girlfriend. I'm like, no, not yet. I don't know if he's got game with the girls yet. We're seeing, blah, blah, blah. And she said to me, this is the girl that cuts my hair, actually. And I got 3 inches cut off my hair yesterday. I didn't even notice. And
I told you it looked good.
when? You must have had the thought. But she said, does his father have game? And I'm like, no. So this is what I'm saying. You gotta bring some A game, okay? You gotta bring A game, okay, to get your contract renewed for another 25 years. Now, if you don't bring the A game, I'm gonna think you don't want the contract renewed.
Okay.
He doesn't sound like he's like at all concerned about this. I think we should put some wedding footage in the next episode, David, don't you? Like we have the
From
wedding.
our wedding?
Yeah, of our wedding, the DVD. Maybe when we were doing the shout and we were laying on the floor and our hands in the air and my mother was like, what is happening? We definitely have wedding footage that we actually haven't looked at in a while.
It's on DVD.
Didn't your friend put it on DVD for us? That guy you used to work with?
Fred?
Yeah. I thought he did it. I thought he took it off the VHS and we have it on DVD now. Am I remembering that incorrectly?
Quite green.
So last time when we were here, we mentioned briefly that Dan is the leader of the YMCA at Reader Weekend, and the ladies really enjoy doing the YMCA with Dan. And what some of you may not know is that Dan also invented the YMCA, or so he says. And in as few words as possible, do you think you could tell us how that happened?
First of all, what's your definition of a few words?
Don't start with, I was born on a stormy day in February, okay? Like,
I've never, ever started a story that way. Only you do.
Feels that way. All right, go ahead. Tell us how this happened.
All right. When I was in high school, it was January of 1979. I was a senior in high school, Jeffersonville, Indiana. You want to tell the story?
No, I'm just saying it was a really long time ago.
And we'd been back to school for a week, and after Christmas break, and I was looking for my friend at lunchtime, and I went down to the gym where he was playing basketball, which he did a lot of times at lunch. And so I was up on the balcony of the gym, and I saw him down on the basketball floor. I was like up on the first landing, and to get his attention, I started waving my arms like this. And then when he finally saw me waving my arms at him, he went like this to say, like, as if, are you trying to get my attention? And I did that too. And then what I wanted to ask him is if he wanted to go down the hall to our usual hangout place and just hang out for the rest of the lunch period. And just then he threw the basketball up to me and I caught it like this. So there was always a dance party going on the balcony of the gym there at my school at lunchtime. So one of the guys that had been over dancing, he came over and asked me if I made that dance up. And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he goes, those moves you just did, it was in perfect time to the song that had been playing on, somebody had just, like the song YMCA had just come out. So they were playing it at this dance party. And unbeknownst to me, I did this and caught the ball right in unison with YMCA in the song. And that is, by the next weekend, it was being done at parties everywhere. And Dick Clark, tried to claim, that he was responsible for the for the dance on American Bandstand, but there's really no footage of that. So
there's no footage of that, and there's no footage of you either inventing it.
Of course, you don't normally have, especially in those days, you didn't have TV cameras just roaming the halls of a high school. But on a TV studio where American Bandstand was happening,
what do the Village people have to say about this?
They've been silent on it too. They're not answering my letters.
They want their idiot back. That's what they keep saying, the Village. So, how many people...
I was also there when the wave was invented too.
Right.
It was on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier Saratoga.
And how did this happen?
Well, we were manning the rails to come into port, and when everybody's in their dress whites and we line up around the flight deck.
This is when you were in the Navy. You weren't one of the Village people. You were actually
I was a Navy guy. And so the officer in charge up on the flight deck that was trying to coordinate everybody, he needed to call, when we finally entered the port, he would need to call out orders for us to be at parade rest or attention or whatever. And so he had a megaphone, and he was standing in the middle of the flight deck, or at one end of the flight deck, I should say, yelling into this megaphone. Now, you got to realize the flight deck is like
massive.
They're big. It's
like 4 football fields.
It's 1,000 feet long and a couple hundred feet wide. So when he yelled, I want everybody to raise their hand if they can hear me. So as the sound traveled, hands went up, like in the wave. And he goes... And so he said, if you can't hear me, raise both hands or something like that. So people were doing this in unison to when they heard the sound. And there was one of my friends on the ship, his girlfriend was on shore waving at us as we were coming in. And she kind of thought it was, we were...
Doing it on purpose.
Yeah. And so that was,
So how did you invent the wave then?
I didn't. I didn't invent that one.
You were there when the wave
that
was
was just a,
I see.
That's
Okay, well, you should really trademark these things as they happen to you because, it's kind of unsettling that you could not be given credit for something like inventing the YMCA. How many people have you sold that story to?
Sold?
Yeah. Well, like, you tell it and, like, do people believe it? They don't know whether or not to believe it, do they?
David looks like he believes it.
David does not believe it. I'm telling you, David is not getting involved in this. He's our Gelman. David's afraid to have an opinion back there. Well, I guess if you know of any information about how the YMCA was invented that differs from Dan's version, then I would encourage you to let us know that. But as it stands right now, Dan claims that he is the inventor of the YMCA. And nothing says I'm a boy of the 70s quite like claiming to invent the YMCA. You might be dating yourself with this one a little bit.
Well,
did you do the, what is it, the one, the country dance, the line dance? No, none of those? None of those?
I liked country music, but I just wasn't into line dancing.
No, what's the one? I'm trying to think. I'm so out of it. The something
shuffle.
Yeah, what is that? I'm so lame. I can't remember it. But yes, anyway. So last time we talked about weird shit that I get from the internet. And today's prize goes to Cindy Pearson, who sent me this. And while you're looking at this, I would just like to say that nothing starts a marriage better than a dress and a vagina together. Would you agree?
No, that's probably...
you don't agree or you do? I said, would you agree? And you said, no.
I meant to say yes.
Nothing like having the vagina on the outside of the dress rather than the inside.
But I just don't get...
It does take some of the mystique away from the wedding night.
Are you sure it's not supposed to be like a rose or something that just mistakenly got...
There's no mistake in that bad boy for a rose, let me just say. That there is a vajayjay, okay? By anyone's definition.
I know it looks like that, but I mean, was the intent of the thing to look like... Was it supposed to be a flower that just ended up looking like a...
I think it was supposed to be a vagina on the outside of the wedding dress. And I'm not sure if it was like an actual wedding dress or if it was a Halloween costume. Dear God, I hope it was a Halloween costume. Can you imagine like the wedding guests when the bride comes marching in with not only her white dress, but her vagina on display? Or, well, maybe it was a model of her vagina on display.
Okay, because it was like this
It was
tall.
massive. It was a big-ass vagina.
What if the groom had a big schlong hanging off of his tuxedo?
like tab A into slot B. Is that what we're like? pays to advertise, you might have a big vagina, but I've got a big schlong. Is that what you're insinuating?
Well, I mean, to each his own, but
Imagine the mothers-in-law, you know, like really, like that's like, I can't imagine like that's a real wedding dress, but if it is, all I have to say is it pays to advertise, and I really hope, because like our daughter likes to live on the outer edge of fashion, but I have to say if she comes home with a wedding dress like that, I may have to intervene, just, you know, because ew. I think maybe she could probably control herself.
it's a little classless.
Yes. But thank you, Cindy, for sending me that, and anybody else who has these beauties from the internet. I got a couple of others that I have lined up for future episodes, but I'm still looking for more. So if you have crazy crap, or crazy shit, as we're calling it, that you find on the internet, please send it to me at marie@marieforrest.com. And a few things from the book world. Very excited. On our anniversary of October 24th, we will be releasing also the 18th Gansett Island book. I love when he looks at me out of the side of his eye. Can you see that? I can't believe that we are at 18 books for the Gansett Island series. That's I've been writing it for 10 years now. And in this episode, so the episodes, for people who don't know, are like a series, a novella series within the series. And so like it's little pieces of characters that we've met before, but maybe haven't had full story, and maybe I don't have enough to do a full book on them, but I want to do more. So this one features Kevin McCarthy and Chelsea, the bartender from, what do you, oh, you know somebody named Kevin McCarthy.
Well, I have a friend named
You have
Kevin
a friend named
McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy. So he's Big Mac's brother, younger brother. And I had a lot of fun writing this because Chelsea has a little surprise in store for Kevin that he doesn't see coming, and it was really fun to write. Now, also in this episode, of course, like any Gansett Island book, there's more of Mac and Maddie, and in this one we also have more of Joe and Janie and more of Adam and Abby, and you'll get to know Riley McCarthy a little bit better and find out what his book's going to be about, and that's the next full-length one. And those of you who've read the teaser chapter that we posted this last week, you know that there's a new business in the making for the McCarthy family. They're going to buy the old Wayfarer, which is basically located where Ballard's is on Block Island. So they're going to start a business that's similar to Ballard's on Gansett Island. And Ballard's is like this big, like, how do we even describe it? It's like it's a hotel. It's
Small hotel.
Beachfront.
Big restaurant.
Yeah, weddings.
Outdoor bar.
Bars, weddings, entertainment. You can rent lounge chairs and umbrellas.
Yeah, it's right on the beach.
Right on the water. It's a primo spot. You can sit on the beach all day out there and have them bring you food and booze. And not to say that we've ever done that.
Live music always going.
Live music
on
always
their,
going.
Outside bar.
Which plays into the Gansett Island theme because live music is a big thing that's always going on Gansett. So I have a lot of fun stuff still to come for Gansett. I don't see any end in sight. That's one of my most frequently asked questions, and the answer to that is no, I don't see any end in sight for Gansett. I can't even imagine saying those words because my readers would go crazy. I also get asked a lot if Mason, the fire chief, is going to have a book, and yes, he will. I'm not sure if it's going to be full length or an episode, but he will get a story because I know readers really want him to have a happy ending. And Finn McCarthy, who is Riley's brother, will also have a book, and I have a really fun idea for him too. So if you have other questions about the books that you want me to talk about on one of these shows, let me know. Marie@marieforrest.com, and I'll answer them on the air. Also, as a bonus,
I have a question. On that Gansett Island series, how many, in that 18 books, how many, what's the time span from book 1 to book
well, that's a good question.
18?
Let's see. So Thomas, the baby, was 9 months old and made for love, and he goes to kindergarten in this 18th book. But I did skip.
That's it?
But I did skip a year of his life too at one point. So yeah, so not intentionally, but I realized I had skipped a year. So really only like three or 4 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot's happened on Gansett. So now as a bonus, if you pre-order episode 2, which is Kevin and Chelsea's book, you can win this original Dan Force painting of the cover of episode 2, which is available for those who pre-order. You have to pre-order the book and then go enter the giveaway. And we're going to put the address of where you enter the giveaway on the screen here so that you can see it. And now we're going to end our latest episode with our favorite part of the show, and that is Dan reading from one of the books.
Oh.
Now,
roulette?
this character, Dan, is reading roulette. Dan's reading roulette. This character is British.
I don't know if I can do that.
I think I'm going to need you, my Midwesterner. I'm like losing my voice here. You can't have that. I'm going to need you to put I'm going to need you to put a British spin on this for me. Can you do it?
I don't know.
Let's try it. Okay, so start here. And I note you could start with that.
I note the rosy glow of her.
That's not British.
Well, I don't.
I note the rosy glow.
I note the rosy glow of her swollen lips. I can't resist leaning in for another taste. Still not weird. Here, her shy smile makes me feel curiously off balance. It occurs to me, I say between sips of liquor courage.
Liquid courage.
Oh, liquid.
You need liquor courage.
It occurs to me, I say between sips of liquid courage, that it might behoove us to partake in a dry run. Well, not a dry run, terrible choice of words, but more of a rehearsal, if you will. Her eyes widen as my suggestion registers, like now. JT stands up and cheers in support of now.
That's
Right fucking now.
That's his John Thomas.
After dinner, perhaps? I reach across the annoying expanse of the kitchen. Why is an expanse of a kitchen annoying?
Because it's in his way.
I reach
You're
across
not
the
allowed to
annoying
critique the
expanse
writing.
of the kitchen counter that now separates us to take hold of her hand. We could get the awkward preliminaries, if there are any, out of the way before we get down to business. I fear I may appear shamelessly opportunistic, but I can't be bothered to care. After the hottest bloody kiss of my life, I want more, and I can't wait days to have it, or her.
Okay, that's good. There was not British. There was nothing British about that.
I can't just do a British.
You can't just do a British? You
No.
can't just do a bloody Brit?
No.
Emily could. Our daughter is a very, very accomplished British speaker. She speaks British. She does. Okay, so that's Jasper and Ellie, and they're getting together because she wants a baby and he wants her. So when he said they should have a dry run, that was really actually a very poor choice of words. Not a dry run, terrible choice of words. I love that line when he says that. But that's a little taste from Quantum. This is book 5. This was my Rita nominee this year, which is the big award from RWA. So if you haven't read Quantum yet and you want to know whether or not Jasper and Ellie succeed in their mission to have a baby, check it out. There's also a tame version of Quantum coming for those of you who've been a little afraid to take on this series because you thought it might be a little too spicy for you. We're toning down the books a little bit and sending you your own special version, which will be on sale very soon. So if you want to get the tame version, you get all the romance and none of the super, really crazy, sexy stuff. You're still sexy, but not crazy sexy. So that's what we've got for you this week. You got anything else you want to add, Mr. Force?
I can't think of anything.
Can't think of anything? Well, then we're going to sign off. This was really fun. Thanks for being here with us. And please tell me what weird shit you find on the internet. I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Bye.